Hello, this is Mickey the Movie Mouse. I'm here to review many movies from whether it's animation or real. Today's episode is Titanic. Wait! Hey? Ow! My head. That was fun. Mr. Toad, what are you doing here? Oh, hello, Mickey. I am kind of small, but I still know how to drive a car. Listen here, Mickey. You are not doing Titanic. Why, Tony? This is my show. Come on, please. Animation is wonderful. Besides, the tradition must continue. Master gave you this to do cartoon movies, not normal ones. Leave that to him. What? How are you insane? No, I'm not. Speaking of which, in the trunk of my car, here's a movie for you to review. Well, tally go. Gotta go. Whee! Ouch. Woo-hoo. Well, since Mr. Toad gave me a movie, might as well review it. Well, the movie is The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Oh, that's one of my favorite movies ever. So, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad is not really too well known by many fans. But many people compare this one to other good classics from, World War II era at Disney, such as The Three Saludos Amigos, and a few other movies. But we're going to review this one today. The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad is about a crazy motor-driven toad, and also it's about the story of the wind in the willows, and also the classic story of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow combined into one. Let's see how long this is. A 68-minute film. So, any Don Bluth fans could watch Land Before Time, while a Disney fan could watch The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and they both finish at the exact same time. Ha! Take that, Don Bluth! Ha! We were famous at the 68-minute mark before you! And by the way, I have no disrespect to Don Bluth whatsoever. So, all on favor. The story. Let's start with the Wind in the Willows story first. It's a story about a crazed toad named Mr. Toad who actually just came by. That guy, crazy toad. I guess he got reintroduced to the Motor Mania world again. Anywho, the fact that this guy, along with his friends Rat, Mole, and Badger, Rat, Mole, and Badger, they all have to try to stop Mr. Toad from all of his crazy manias so his home could be saved, 'cause he's under very bad taxation. Trust me, I understand what taxation is. Since Mr. Toad has a lot of taxes to pay, he has no money for it, because he's spending all of his money on his crazy manias. Just as McBadger thought it was over with the carts, the canary yellow gypsy cart, with the gypsy carts thing, Mr. Toad crashes the cart and finds that cars are the new medium of transportation. So he goes crazy, ends up trading his own house, Toad Hall, for a stolen car. But then Mr. Toad goes to jail, so his trusted horse Cyril has to bust him out. But the only way to get Mr. Toad to make sure that his guiltiness, that's all I can really say about it, his guiltiness is covered, they have to get the deed away from this guy named Winky, who, in the first place, managed the trade with his weasels, which also appeared in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yes, the weasels appeared in there. And they get the deed back after a huge epic chase scene and planning. After a lot of planning and an epic chase, they got the deed to Toad Hall back, and Toad was free, and he had stopped the Motor Manias forever. Well, so they thought. he started getting into airplanes. Ha ha ha. Anywho, the Wind in the Willows story has an okay plot, even though it's kind of predictable, although... Actually, no, there's so many twisted turns and epicnesses that, well, it's just too much fun. You know, watching Mr.Toad, you know, merrily, 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 merrily on the way to nowhere in particular. Oh yeah, and that song's really catchy too. So, for the Wind in the Willows segment, since the character Mr.Toad is so crazy he got his own theme park attraction, and also much other merchandise, since the character is so crazy and all the characters are so lovable and the plot's so really good and the song is epic, I give it a 10 out of 10. But that's only part of this segment. Now we move on to the Sleepy Hollow story. The story is about a weird-looking guy named Ichabod Crane who comes to the sleepy town of, well, Sleepy Hollow and starts changing the ways of the town. Well, trying to. This guy is so strange that even the town bully, Brom Bones, keeps bullying him, even though he's... Well, that really makes no sense. Don't it? But, one fateful day, after all the ignoring that Ichabod had, since Ichabod kept ignoring Brom, one day, he found the love of his life, Katrina Van Tassel, the only daughter and only child of old Baltus Van Tassel, the richest farmer in the country. Once Katrina, flirts with him, Ichabod is hooked, along with Brom Bones. He is also hooked. So technically, it's a fight to the finish for the lady. But the time that Ichabod showed Katrina the true ways of... But here's the thing, here's the twist. The only reason why Ichabod wants to marry her is because she looks pretty, and because the farm has a lot of money going out of it. Yep, that's why. Ichabod, you are greedy. Scrooge McDuck. You even put Scrooge McDuck to shame. Womp womp womp. Anywho, once he finds Katrina and has a little Halloween dance with her at a Halloween party, Brom Bones scares Ichabod since he found out that he's paranoid by when he smells salt, he throws it behind his shoulder. Since Brom Bones figured out that this guy's paranoid, the paranoidation goes to talking about the legend of the Headless Horseman. But since Ichabod is really paranoid, on his ride home, he hears really strange whistling sounds that sound like ghosts coming out in the night. Then after Ichabod finally figures out that ghosts are all fake, this sucker comes up. If you could see him, yeah. The Headless Horseman comes up and tries to cut off Ichabod's head. But in the end, Ichabod finally gets across the bridge, thinking that he's away from the spirit forever. The Headless Horseman throws a firing pumpkin at him. And the next day, Ichabod and his horse never were found. So to this very day, you can still hear the moaning and the sinister laugh of the Headless Horseman. So, with the plot and all on this one's actually take on another real story just as much as The Wind in the Willows is a true story. Well, just like a great classic storybook. And within connotation with that, since both of these great stories, which I have both read, are on one same movie, that deserves extra points. So without further ado, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr.Toad. The plot on the Ichabod story is a 10 out of 10. Well, 5 out of 5. Yeah, it was 10 out of 10 on the last one, wasn't it? Yeah, a 10 out of 10 on the plot here. On the characters, it's Ichabod is really paranoid, and I kind of don't like paranoid people. That's kind of downgrades it a little. And the fact that Baltus isn't really in the movie, neither is Katrina, and Brom Bones isn't in the movie either, it's all about Ichabod. So, the characters get like a 9.1 out of 10. Still good, although. And then there's, the songs Katrina,
Ichabod's Song, I guess you could call it that, and The Legend of the Headless Horseman. Those are all very catchy, so 10 out of 10 for those. Last but not least, the final rating for this entire movie is The rating is 10 out of 10 for The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. 9. A solid 9. Well, because it is only 68 minutes and it's one of the shortest Disney films ever created, that downgrades it by a lot. So, tune in next time for, well, you guys. You guys just guess the movie that's coming up next. And once you guess, Mr. Cosmos 1 will send you a personal message. Oswald! Yeah, Mickey? How do you get off this map? Oh, Mickey.